right, welcome back, everybody. The border crisis, one of the key issues here are the kids, the children. We're watching U.S. public schools now being flooded with illegal immigrant children. Unfortunately, it comes with a cost. We all want to educate little kids. We all want to provide the best services possible, whether it's quality transportation back south of the border or some sort of systematic program. But it comes with a cost, and it appears our government is ignoring that cost. Joining me at this time from Washington, D.C. is the Executive Director of the National Center for Public Policy Research, David Almasi. David, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Rick.
David, we are seeing, as I mentioned, schools being flooded with children, little kids of illegal immigrant status. According to the latest research, this comes at a cost to the school districts of about $10,000 to $12,000 per student per year. And with the financial strain on so many communities, here in California, we're watching cities go through bankruptcy, for crying out loud. What sort of consequences might we see across America by adding this additional burden to these communities?
Well, you said it right there. I mean, we've got, I know Miami spends about $8,000 on a regular student. Foreign students cost $2,000 more. They've already in Miami had to appeal to the government saying that they need more money. And I've heard up in Delaware, they're complaining about, they're not getting any word from the government about how many illegal students are being brought into their school districts. And they're afraid that come September 30th, they're not going to be able to ask for any money because that's the cutoff date for being able to get more money. So what you could see is illegal students coming into the school districts all year long. These school districts have set budgets. They've just got to stretch that limit on their budgets harder and harder. And don't we hear all the time about how our schools don't have any money? But what's happening? The Obama administration is flooding these schools with kids that aren't going to have the budgets to meet them. And I mean, that's irresponsible. And that's something that he's not talking about.
He's not talking about it. And David, anytime you have a conversation like this, it oftentimes gets labeled as a racist conversation and can spin to that direction. You know, anytime you start talking about, hey, these folks are here illegally, they're immigrants, all of a sudden you're a narrow-minded bigot. But the reality is, when we're watching these school districts get burdened with $10,000 to $12,000 per year per student for those here illegally, as you point out, the budgets are already set. It gets stretched. It hurts communities of all color, of all ethnic background. It probably hurts. It probably hurts the lower income communities the most. Hits them the hardest.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you want to talk about racism, 93% of of black students are public school students. These are the kids that are going to have their budgets stretched to the limit. And it's the Supreme Court in 1982 said that these schools have to take illegal aliens. There's no way that they cannot do it. And the Obama administration plainly came out in May and said, we're going to be watching you. You can't you can't not have an illegal alien in your schools if they apply. You can't ask them anything about their status. We're going to be watching you at the Department of Education and the Justice Department. And they basically sent a threatening letter to school districts across the country. So now, just on top of it, in Virginia, they're afraid that kids are going to be able to come in without having their immunizations, because in Virginia, you can't even ask a homeless kid if they've had their vaccinations. And we've talked all the time about these kids coming across the border with scabies, lice, TB, other things. If they get relocated by someone who's not paying attention to Virginia, and they're in with someone, some relative or some sort of guardian, and they apply in the school system as homeless, they have to take them. It's a huge problem that could just be waiting for us as the kids start rolling into school this week, next week, and in the coming weeks.
Before we shift gears, David Almasi, let me ask you, what if someone here legally, a legal citizen, a child of a legal child of a legal family, were to show up for school in a public school system without any records of shots, without any record of vaccination? What would happen to that child?
Out. Out. You are segregated out until you get your shots. You're segregated out from the rest of the population, from what I've seen. But before we shift gears, What are the teachers' unions doing about this? We're always hearing about the teachers' unions. Teachers are being overworked. My class size is huge. What's going to happen when all these kids start coming into these schools? Class sizes are going to balloon. What did the teachers' union get from supporting Obama? They're getting tighter budgets and bigger class sizes, which are the two things that they really hate. So it's up to these public school teachers who are in the unions to go to their union reps, go to their union conventions and say, what did you do to us?
Has there been any outcry from the unions thus far?
No, you go to the union website, they talk about amnesty being a wonderful thing. And what they do, strangely enough, they focus on the DREAM Act. The DREAM Act is mainly for college kids. The teachers' union doesn't have anything to do with the college kids. So these union members, these hardworking teachers who are sometimes spending their own money in their classrooms, are paying their union dues to a union that's lauding a program that helps college kids. And at the same time, as I said, it's giving them bigger class sizes. It's stretching that budget even more so that teacher who's already paying union dues and paying some extra money to buy things for her students in the classroom may be spending even more. So, I mean, hey, thanks a lot, NEA. Thanks a lot, AFT. You're making things much harder for your members when your job is supposed to be making things better.
All right, now switching gears, but a very related topic. It's something that I believe is a story of crony capitalism, and not of one of saving humanity. And that is President Obama met with business leaders. We talked about this on a show yesterday, and he is considering granting 800,000 guest worker visas for those who are here illegally. Now, first of all, the underemployment rate among black Americans is at 20.5%. The underemployment rate among Hispanic Americans is at 18.4%. Those are just tragic numbers. In addition, those who defend President Obama say, well, what this really is, it's more educated, it's higher skilled, technological workers that were filling a need in the marketplace. Well, if that's the case, why not take those same resources and apply it to training our own kids in K through 12 on greater math and science skills? I'm interested in your take on this particular option that President Obama is considering.
Well, we're always talking about increasing STEM studies in college, the science and math and all that. There may be a couple years before they're in the job market. I have no problem with Congress and the White House looking into granting more STEM visas. What I think we're going to end up with is nothing of the sort. We're not going to be talking about just bringing in visas and bringing in and granting amnesty to people that can write computer code. We're talking about some across-the-board stuff that I'm afraid we're going to get a taste of after the Labor Day holiday. And that is going to definitely hurt black Americans because the average illegal alien that's here is about the same age as the average out-of-work black American. They're going to be competing for the same jobs. When you say across
the board stuff, David, elaborate, specify. What are you referring to?
Well, I mean, like I say, if we need more people to write computer code, if we need more people in laboratories here, that's one thing. But if we're giving some sort of blanket amnesty, because as I read it, it's going to be both high-tech and low-skilled. Things like in the industrial sector, in the agricultural sector, you're going to have unemployed black Americans in their 20s and 30s competing with unemployed, now I guess legal aliens that are in the same 20s and 30s age
The underemployment rate goes up.
They are more likely.
Yeah, all right, I mean,
exactly.
We're out of time.
Every time historically.
We're out of time.
Okay.
We're out of time, Almasi, but it goes up. And so this is bad news for those groups that have high unemployment rates currently. And unfortunately, those happen to be people of color, be it Hispanic or black. And President Obama is practicing crony capitalism here. All right, if you dislike the TSA, my next story will certainly annoy you.